Hello, everyone. This is Sergeant Gonzalo Duran, once again from Devil Dog USA. I'm the CEO, and I'm asking you for your help. 99% of all our programs and events is free to the community. We do this by having sponsorship that's at a sliding scale, and we ask for small donations from the community. So how can you help us? Well, one, you can go to our website, www.devildogUSAinc.org. Look at the articles, look at the events that we do, look at the pictures, and if you have it in your heart, go on our donation page and help us out. If you want, go to one of our events, see how the community helps us, see how we give ourselves and we support and we bring the community in one place to support the military, the veterans, and the community itself, and drop off a little cash to our donation boxes. And until I see you guys, as always, God bless America.
The following is not sponsored or endorsed by Gonzalo Duran. New Yorkers sure have been through a lot over the past few years, but through crisis comes hope, leadership, and heroes. Today we honor those heroes who were there for us when we needed them the most. One such hero is a decorated veteran who tirelessly fights for his country, city, and community. Sergeant Gonzalo Duran, a Marine's commitment never ends. Let's elect someone who will defend and honor all New Yorkers and put America first. Today begins New York's comeback story. Let's elect someone that will bring true leadership, who has served his country, city, and community for over 20 years. And that person is Gonzalo Duran. Let's elect him to Congress, New York District 15 in 2024. For more information about Gonzalo Duran and his campaign, please visit his website at www.gonzaloduran.nyc. That's www.gonzaloduran.nyc. This ad is brought to you by Friends to Elect Gonzalo Duran for U.S. Congress and are not sponsored or endorsed by Gonzalo Duran or his committee.
Check the Real G Spotlight magazine. It's out every monthly issue, and you can get that at www.madcloud.com. Again, you get that at www.madcloud.com. It's called the Real G Spotlight magazine. If you wanted to be on that, you can contact me on my Instagram at officialVeroG.
Hey, what's up, man? It's your girl Vero G right now, and tune into our Vero G Spotlight TV radio podcast, available at Apple Music, iTunes, all the places you could think of. They're all available at those places. So go check it out. We have a lot of great interviews from various artists to mainstream artists and all that said and done. You can definitely check us out. You can find me on my Instagram at officialVeroG, and check out the website at WhosNextNYC.com. And also, if you want to submit your music or, be a guest on our show, you could go to the email at WhosNextNYC@gmail.com. Also, the website where you could also submit if you'd like to play your music on our show and also be on our show for an interview. So definitely go check it out. Again, for the Real G Spotlight TV radio show also, and support this amazing platform. Thank you so much. Take care.
Hello, everyone. This is Vet Talk, and I'm your host, Sergeant Gonzalo Duran. I'd like to thank our executive producers, JM Empire Media and Vero G Productions. Also to our sponsors, Has Heart. They're putting it's a mission-based organization for veterans that puts artists and veterans together to make art. And this particular shirt represents the burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan. You can check them out through www.hasheart.us. Now, today's honored guest is Patrick McManus, the chairman of the Bronx County Conservative Party. Pat, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you, Gonzalo, for having me here again. It's a pleasure to come and speak to you.
Well, one of the great things to have you on today is that you recently had a big victory. Please tell the viewers about it.
We had a historic victory in the 13th City Council District up in the Bronx. It was a hard-fought race. There was a Republican and a conservative primary for the first time in many, many years. And the victor in that primary, Christy Marmorato, went on to win the first, she's the first elected conservative Republican city councilwoman from the Bronx in some 50 years, and the first to hold the seat in that district in somewhat like 90 years. It was a very, very historic victory, and congratulations to Christy. And
so now, for the viewers that may not understand, she is a Republican, but she was endorsed by the Conservative Party. How did that come about?
Well, we were approached by several candidates for that district, and they all seemed decent candidates. They all were community-oriented people, community activists, family, spiritual, religious. They really fit the mold of the conservative ideals. So that's what made us decide that rather than us deciding who our membership would get to vote for in November, we would let them have a primary and see who the registered conservatives of the district actually wanted as their candidate.
And for the viewers that may not know, for elections, you have a primary to get who's going to be in the general elections. So one starts in, I think, February or March.
Well, the petition periods start for all the candidates. It's usually right there, February, March. And the primaries occur in June, late June. And the purpose of the primary is to decide who is going to represent the party in the general election come November.
There we go.
So there is no second petitioning period to run in November. The winner of the primary becomes the candidate in the general election for that particular party.
Now, Christie's victory, obviously is a big win for the Republicans and the Conservative Party. But you also had, looking at the statistical numbers, you also had other victories in other locations.
Yes, absolutely. We had candidates in several other districts, two of which there was no candidate, there was a candidate on the Republican line, but it was a different candidate. So in the general election, there was actually three choices the people had. Was the Democratic choice, the Republican choice, and the Conservative choice. And what we saw there, and two of the ones that were very interesting were in the South Bronx, where in one district where we only have approximately 50 registered conservative voters, we actually had 150 votes on the conservative line. In the other district, it was even a little wider than that. I think, out of 75 registered, we got somewhere around 300. So in looking at those numbers, I'm seeing that in those areas, the people aren't happy with the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. And they sought out to vote on a third line, which means I think people in those areas are starting to realize that they identify more with the ideals of the Conservative Party than they do with either the Democrat or Republican Party.
So now that you have these victories, how do you plan to keep the momentum going?
Well, that's just it. We've been, I've partnered with a few groups, a few individuals in these areas, and we've been hosting and holding events, cigar nights, and other things, trying to, just trying to get people more interested in politics and understand that, their city council members affect their lives every day more than who's sitting in the White House. And, I think people are coming to that realization. They're starting to see the value in local politics and thinking local when it comes to who's representing the community.
Yeah, I, for one, know that. I've, as an advocate, I lobbied one of the programs for student veteran homelessness, to try to get the Human Rights Act of 2017 changed to not have landlords and brokers discriminate against veterans trying to use their GI Bill to get apartments, because that was causing a lot of homelessness in the communities. But once again, it's not a national level problem; it's a city level.
Absolutely.
So stuff like that. And I'm sure there's other tons of different things that's going on, but that's just one example out of many. So now you got, you've been doing all those, let's say, cigar nights and having individuals that are coming out. I'm assuming this upcoming year, 2024, you guys have some plans coming up.
Yes, there's a lot of races, more state and federal level. As everybody knows, we have the presidential race coming, and that's what everybody's focused on. But there are a lot of races closer to home. Your state senators, your state assemblymen, who, again, those affect our lives here in New York State more than who's in the White House. We're actively searching for individuals interested in running that fit the ideals, and we are actively asking anybody who's interested in running, please come in, have a meeting with the Conservative Party. You can reach us on Facebook. And we want to build a better community, and we need to do it together.
I was talking to the president of the Bronx Veteran Political Party, which is a nonprofit that helps voter registration,
Familiar.
the donor registration cards, and try to help veterans get some information so they can run for office. And they had told me that on I think it's the word is slate, for the pollings, that there were a lot of empty vacancies on them. So, like, let's say judges that were running for office, they went unopposed.
Absolutely. It was a little disheartening for even me as a party chair to look at the ballot. And in my particular district, in the 13th City Council district, this was only a local election this year. District attorney for the Bronx, who happens to have the worst record of all the district attorneys, was running unopposed. I searched for a candidate willing to run that was qualified to run, because it's not just a matter of actually running. You want somebody who's qualified and can do the job. And I spoke to several attorney groups, and I could not find anybody interested in opposing the district attorney, who has the worst conviction rate in the 5 boroughs. Most cases thrown out. It was abysmal. And then right down the slate, other than the 13th City Council district, neither the Conservative Party nor the Republican Party had a candidate. And it was very disheartening. And I could speak for myself that I very actively tried to get candidates for judge, and as I said, district attorney, but nobody wanted to challenge the Democratic machine that is operating in the Bronx, other than in the one district there, and in the 15th.
It was I believe the 15th and 17th.
17th, and there was a little challenge in the 11th. But the 15th and 17th were the really interesting ones.
I like to keep myself updated with politics and what's going on in my neighborhood as well. We always talk about the higher elected positions, but there's also party positions. There's also
Absolutely.
community level stuff like community boards. At the higher level from the mayor's office, they have the advisory boards.
Right.
And then you have your own little centric community, like the more neighborhood level, which is like, let's say, a tenants association or something like that.
Yes.
The party itself, let's say the Bronx Conservative Party, what are you guys specifically looking for now? Let's say, because you want, let's say, less people, or you want the vacancies to be filled,
Yes.
and you want people to join for the 2024 election.
We do have a lot of positions within the party available. There's basically there's several positions available within the political party. You have your county committee, you have a state committee, you have assembly district leaders, you have associate assembly district leaders, you have judicial delegates, and each one has different roles. And in the past years, when I took over the party, a lot of these positions were not filled. They were either vacant or they had people who no longer had any interest in being involved. I have seen in the last 3 years, and especially now in this last year, my party enrollment is rising. And not only is it rising, the people joining want to be involved. They want to step up. And, you know, I'm looking in the next year, and my executive committee, we're looking to fill every single position within the party. And we hope to have a complete slate of candidates running for every office that is open in this coming year in 2024.
You know, I've been fortunate to have two chairmen on the show. Besides you,
Yes.
the independent party chairman, I don't remember his exact name right now. Now that the independent's gone, but back then when we had him.
Right.
So it's, you know, thank you for coming. Just want to say that, just to be out there. But, you know, for me, statistical wise, I'm more of a statistic guy. I like to look at
Okay.
numbers. So, for my district, I believe there was over 180,000 plus residents, right?
Right.
And 110,000 plus registered voters, and the city council race was won by, or you know, I want to say that 3,500, and altogether in that district, voters were less than 4,000.
Right.
You know, if you even increase the number, that's one thing, but how do you get voters to want to vote more?
Well, I believe it's including them, because when I first became chairman, and in talking to people, I asked them, why don't you vote? They said, because my voice is not heard. They told me that I get to vote who my party says I can vote for in November. You know, if I'm a registered Democrat, when November comes around, the party tells me who to go to vote for, and they just felt that their vote has no meaning, and which is why I had the idea and brought it to my committee about running a primary, and to include people, then each voter's voice is heard when you hold a primary. And I think that's the number one reason people don't come out, is because they feel their one vote doesn't count. It's not going to make a difference, and they're not going to be heard. And I'm really working hard to try and change people's mindset in that.
And you know, Vet Talk, you know, we're not a political
Yes.
show, and you know, the work that comes from here, it's based off a nonprofit. So we never specifically try to tell anybody to go anywhere. But in the end of the day, many things that we face in the community, it deals with politics. A lot of the things that we want to do at some point is going to touch on politics. So when we look at it, let's say working with the Bronx Veteran Political Party, there's less than 10% of the elected officials in the overall, so they want to see more of that. The veteran community has an option to join any party. You're right there, and for them to reach you at, once again, it would be to go, let's say, on Facebook.
The easiest way is Facebook, and if you wouldn't mind, if they could contact you through the show, you could put them in contact with me. You know, I'm trying to be as accessible as possible.
Okay. So for Facebook, you can go on to our viewers out there, let's say individuals that want to join or veterans as well. You can go to Facebook at the Bronx Veteran the Bronx County
Conservative Party.
And feel free to reach out here at CEO@DevilDogUSAINC.org, and we'll be happy to get you into direction with Pat right here.
Absolutely, if you're looking to contact me, and most importantly, I ask that everybody register and vote. You know, I personally, I'm going to prefer that you register as a conservative.
I would assume so.
But more importantly, everybody, it's our right. It's a sacred right, and you know, we are the greatest country in the world. I don't care what anybody says. And this is one of our fundamental rights. And I watch people in third world countries; they're so proud to go out and vote. And here in the United States, it's like pulling teeth to get people to go out and vote. I don't care who you're voting for at the end of the day, just as long as you get out and vote and let your voice be heard.
All those sentiments carried forward. Now, last time we spoke, you always been the chairman, but that was your first term. Now you're on your second term.
Yes.
Now, could you give us a little bit more information on that?
Well, yes, we had to reorganize this year, and thankfully I was reelected as chairman for the next 2 years. And again, it's about building the party and building the party with people that want to be active. I've seen a surge in that. It's got me excited. It's got me happy. I'm working with many people. For a while it felt like it was me against the world. Now I've got some people behind me, and we're looking forward in the next year. We've increased enrollment, I think, somewhere around between 5 and 10% this year. That's a small number. I'm looking this year to top that, and I think it's quite possible with the team that's coming into place now, and the realization by people that the other parties that have been controlling New York City, or I got to say it, I'm sorry, the Democratic Party that has controlled New York City for so long, the values of the party don't align with the population. And I think a lot of the population is starting to realize that, and I think that's the 13th Council District should be the first of many. I want to try and continue to build on that, and move
just
on
stating
from there.
just stating facts alone. If we just state the facts, there's only one dominant, party out there. I think there's only 3 or 4 or 5 Republicans.
I think it's 5 now, because even though Christie was elected, a Republican lost. There was a district merged, and the incumbent Republican, there was an incumbent Republican against an incumbent Democrat, and the Democrat won that race. So the scale stayed where it was. I believe it's 46-5 on the city council. There's 51 seats. I think 46 Democratic and 5 Republican.
So now, in your second term, what would you like to see in that time frame?
I'd like to see us elect several more candidates in the next 2 years in this term. Again, I'm hoping on a more local level. We have state senator races, and even on the bigger national level, we're looking at 4 congressional district seats in the Bronx. Is it 4 or 5?
I want to say 4, if I remember correctly. There's the 16th, 15th, 14th, and the
13th. I think spans Manhattan, Bronx.
But you only have one that's actually in.
There's one completely in the Bronx, and that's the 15th. And as lofty of a goal as it is, I'd love to put a conservative into that seat in Congress.
Now, for the viewers that may not know, the district lines cross over with their counterparts. So, don't quote me on this, but I think the 13th goes into Manhattan or Westchester, maybe.
Yeah, 13th goes into Manhattan. 16 goes Bronx and Westchester. 14 Queens, Bronx. And that's another interesting dynamic. It looks like the lines are going to be redrawn again. It's being fought in court. It was decided by the New York State Supreme Court last year, but now it's being challenged again. And we may be looking at a redistricting of the congressional lines.
So now, the word, you used that word twice, redistricting. You said that earlier you did a redistricting for your position, and now those are the lines for the congressional district. For the viewers that may not know, and I've only learned this maybe within the last year and a half, that every 2 years, the party itself does like a reorganization.
Well,
type of
that's a
thing.
reorganization. The
Reorganization.
redistricting and reorganization are a little different. Every political party has to reorganize every 2 years. It means you elect a new county committee, new executive board. All the positions are up for grabs every 2 years. What I'm talking about in the congressional race is redistricting. Each congressional district is supposed to have roughly 600,000 people in the district. So every 10 years, based on the census, the lines have to be drawn to keep things balanced. And the idea is you want to keep areas that have common needs within the same congressional districts. So there's some geographical constraints on where these lines could be moved and how,
So
how
the
you could use
politics
it.
within the politics.
Right. So now, depending on the party that's in power here in New York and Albany, there's tremendous sway. It's given to a nonpartisan commission of 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats are supposed to decide on these lines. Now, obviously, the Democrats want to draw the lines to their advantage, make them stronger in certain areas, and they could see if they're a little weak. Well, if we cut through and put Co-op City is a big hot issue. Co-op City is the biggest voting bloc in the United States. So, well, if the district next to there is a little weak, well, maybe we move the line and we get them to vote here. And that is what happened this year after, 2 years ago after the census. The nonpartisan commission came to impasse. There was a ballot initiative whether the people of New York wanted to give the legislature the power to draw the lines. It was voted down. However, once the commission came to impasse, the governor just handed it to the legislature to do the lines. So now we had a House and a Senate, both had supermajorities of Democrats. And they drew the lines all throughout New York State in a way that, to me, and as it turned out to the New York State Supreme Court, was blatant what is called gerrymandering, which is adjusting those districts to benefit you, not to benefit the community, but to benefit the party. Case in point, the 14th district was cut up to include Nassau County, Suffolk County, Queens County, Bronx County, and Westchester County. So they had those 5 counties. Now, the needs of the people in Suffolk County are completely contrary to the needs of the people in the Bronx. How can we have the same representative? So it was, that was just one example. So it was taken to court, and it meandered its way through the courts, and the court ruled in favor of the Republican and Conservative parties that the lines were blatant gerrymandering. They appointed a special master, an impartial special master was appointed by the court to redraw these lines before the election 2 years ago. That was all done. We had the election results. The Democratic Party tried to appeal the lines, and the chief judge at that time denied their, refused to hear it. They said there was no grounds to hear it. However, the chief judge retired. This year we have a new chief judge. Democratic Party has reapplied, and now the court has agreed to hear this case. So,
Well, a lot of things are going to happen in the 2024 elections. The main thing is try to get more voters, try to get some votes, and get more people to get involved. With that being said, thank you, Pat, for being here. For those that are interested in either coming on to the show, if you're an individual or organizations that is dedicated to helping veterans and the community with your resources, we'll be happy to have you. And you can reach us at ceo@devildogusainc.org, and you can check out our website at www.devildogusainc.org. Once again, as always, God bless America.